During my early and mid-20s, I found myself going out and drinking far too often. Each working week, I eagerly awaited Friday night, anticipating the chance to rock the town with my friends. However, everything shifted after a single summer night. My plan for the evening involved meeting my girlfriends at a nice local bar. It was fairly fancy, and its live music added to its charm. Preferring not to start the night solo, I bided my time until my friends made their entrance. Upon arrival, we placed our initial drink orders and sought out a cozy spot to gather and catch up. As the bar began to swell with its weakened crowd, the live band launched into their set indoors. Despite the enticing music, we opted to relocate to the quieter outdoor patio to carry on our conversation with drinks in hand. With my first drink consumed and another one ready, I couldn't help but notice a charming guy who had been casting glances in my direction for the past hour. I reciprocated with occasional smiles, hoping to initiate some form of connection. Fortunately, he mustered the courage to approach and introduce himself as Lance. My friends, recognizing his interest in me, began teasing him playfully, perhaps to encourage his interest in me. Their efforts paid off, as he eventually offered to buy me a drink, a gesture I graciously accepted. Lance introduced me to another guy he had met earlier that evening while bar hopping, marking this the third bar they had visited. The man, Robert, despite claiming sorta awkwardly and out of nowhere he was 28, seemed considerably older, perhaps in his late 40s. However, I didn't dwell on it too much, as my focus was on getting to know Lance better. As the night progressed, the alcohol began to take effect, and I could feel the buzz setting in. Despite having developed a high tolerance, I was aware that pacing myself would be crucial if I intended to stay out late. However, Lance and Robert were persistent in their efforts to buy more drinks for us, making it difficult to resist the allure of free alcohol. The live band's music was growing more captivating, and I felt a strong desire to dance with Lance. However, when he excused himself to use the bathroom, I found myself entranced by the music alone. It was then that Robert approached me, offering a drink he claimed I had forgotten. Struggling to hear him over the music, I thanked him and resumed dancing while waiting for Lance. The music pulsed through the air, luring me into a trance as I took another sip of my drink. The dance floor teemed with energy, with more and more people joining in around me. Sensing a vibration, I fumbled for my phone, but the glare of the screen made it impossible to read. Struggling to unlock my phone and check the notification, I found myself succumbing to a sudden blackout. Gradually, I began to regain consciousness, feeling disoriented and dizzy. As awareness slowly returned, I found myself lying on a cold cement floor in complete darkness. My hands were bound behind me by rope, cloth tied around my mouth to mute my screams. Slowly standing up, I quickly realized the alcohol still had a strong hold on me. My vision remained hazy, and I struggled to make out my surroundings. The only source of light was a dim glow filtering through a small clouded window, barely illuminating the desolate basement. "Hello?" I muffled out into the still darkness, terrified to hear any response back though. The floor felt very cold as my shoes had been taken. Luckily, I was clothed otherwise. I cautiously searched around in the dark, trying to spot any source of light or weapon to arm myself with while frightful tears started to accumulate. Shivering from the biting cold and in a state of confusion, I watched as a door swung open, flooding the room with a subtle light. A silhouette emerged, gradually taking shape as the figure drew nearer. To my dismay, it was unmistakably Robert, the man from the bar. I attempted to scream through the gag, but fell silent when the light bulb flickered to life, flooding the room with brightness. "Emma," the man's voice called out, and as the room became well lit, I gazed at Robert, who wore a repulsive glare and grin. Balancing a hammer in one hand and his phone pointed towards me in another, he spoke in a sinister tone. "Are you frightened, Emma?" Dread filled his words as I instinctively sought to distance myself from him, muffling any pleas in a desperate attempt to protect myself. The faint rumble of a passing car, accompanied by the soft thump of bass from its music, hinted we were most likely in a nearby neighborhood. My sole focus became reaching the door and evading the man before me. "I asked you, are you frightened, Emma?" He taunted again, his words tinged with a drunken laugh. Despite his stumbling steps, he pressed on towards me, his sinister smile never fading. I skirted around him, keeping a cautious distance, our eyes meeting in a chilling exchange. With the gag around my mouth beginning to loosen, I wasted no time in using my jaw to remove it, feeling a wave of relief wash over me as the pressure subsided. In a frantic bid for help, I unleashed a primal scream, the sound piercing the quiet night in hopes of alerting anyone nearby. Robert's reaction was immediate, his confidence shattered as he dropped his phone, his expression morphing from assurance to worry. In a split decision, I darted towards the door as Robert's gaze was momentarily fixed on his dropped phone. With a surge of adrenaline propelling me forward, I swiftly maneuvered past him in my frantic bid for freedom. Fueled by an instinctual urge to protect myself, I found myself in a frenzied state, resorting to biting his face as he attempted to grapple me, ultimately forcing him to release his grip and allowing me to break free. My cries filled the empty house as I raced through its corridors, desperately seeking an exit to the outside world. The sound of Robert's swift pursuit spurred me on as I finally spotted the front door. Peering through the windows, I realized a surge of relief as we were in a residential neighborhood. With my hand gripping the door handle tightly, I turned it with determination and swung the door open, fully intending to spring out to safety. Yet, just as I was about to step outside, Robert's hand snatched me once more, halting my escape. Despite his grip, I continued to thrash, kick, and scream, resorting to anything to fend him off. Moments later, his hold suddenly loosened, and he broke into a run. Confusion momentarily overwhelmed me as I processed the sudden turn of events. It quickly dawned on me that he must have been spooked by the increasing amount of front lights from the neighboring homes turning on, fearing he would be caught. Without hesitation, I resumed screaming for help, my voice ringing out into the night as Robert dashed towards a truck parked on the street. In a flash, what I assume was Robert's truck sprang to life, its headlights cutting through the darkness as he sped away from the area. As the neighbors from the house across the street emerged to investigate, I stepped into the yard, my hands still bound, but my spirits lifted by the knowledge that the terrifying ordeal was over. Nearby residents began to converge, offering support and assistance in the aftermath of the alarming event. Months later, as the memories of the traumatic event began to fade from my mind, I received a chilling message. The video Robert had taken of me in the basement, sent from an anonymous source. It served as a haunting reminder of the danger I had narrowly escaped that night.